You didn't hear this from just anyone. This is Mesmeric Femme, where we talk about feminine psychology, quiet confidence, and the kind of power you don't need to explain. Stay with me. I'll tell you what they don't. Today we're unpacking something most people underestimate: how journaling quietly improves physical health. Not spiritually, not symbolically, not because writing is magical, but because chronic emotional noise has a measurable cost on the body. This episode isn't about manifestation. It's not about affirmations. It's not about aesthetic morning routines. This is journaling as nervous system hygiene. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why putting thoughts on paper reduces physiological stress, supports immune function, and helps the body recover more efficiently. So look, let's start where the science actually begins. The first thing to understand is why the body cares about your thoughts at all. Here's something few people explain clearly. The body doesn't distinguish well between emotional stress and physical threat. Unprocessed emotions, rumination, suppressed anger, unresolved fear, keep the nervous system activated. That activation elevates cortisol, increases inflammation, disrupts immune signaling, and slows recovery. Most people live in this state quietly, not panicking, not breaking down, just carrying noise. Journaling works because it reduces load, not emotionally, physiologically. Now let's talk about the evidence itself. This is one of the most researched areas in psychology. For over 30 years, James W. Pennebaker and his colleagues have studied something called expressive writing. Not poetic writing, not positive thinking on paper, structured emotional expression. Across hundreds of studies, consistent findings show that expressive writing reduces stress and anxiety, improves emotional regulation, decreases depressive symptoms, and improves cognitive clarity and decision-making. And this is the part most people miss. It also affects physical health. So let's talk about the mechanism, because this is not magic. When emotions stay unstructured in the mind, they activate the amygdala, the brain's threat detector. Writing forces emotion into language. Language shifts processing to the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for regulation and control. So the mechanism is simple. Unstructured emotion creates a threat response. Structured language creates a regulation response. Mira, writing doesn't remove emotion, it contains it, and containment calms the nervous system. Now let's look at what this does to the body. Clinical studies found that people who practiced expressive writing showed improved immune markers, faster recovery after illness or surgery in certain populations, and fewer doctor visits over time. Not because writing heals tissue, but because chronic stress suppresses immune function, and writing reduces chronic stress. Less stress leads to better regulation. Better regulation leads to better recovery. That's it. No mysticism, no exaggeration. This is where an important distinction matters. Journaling is not emotional venting. The science is clear. Unstructured venting can actually increase rumination. What works is reflective structure. Writing that helps you name patterns, observe reactions, connect emotion to behavior, and reduce cognitive load. This is why journaling improves clarity, not chaos. It's not catharsis, it's metacognition. Now let's add another layer. People who reflect on their behavior, especially in writing, adjust faster. Studies in organizational and educational psychology show that written reflection improves learning speed, decision quality, and long-term performance. Why? Because reflection externalizes thought. You stop carrying everything in working memory. That alone reduces mental fatigue, and mental fatigue directly impacts physical energy. Now let's talk about habit tracking, not motivation, not discipline. Feedback. Behavioral science shows that self-monitoring changes behavior automatically. The act of recording increases adherence, improves consistency, and reduces dropout. This is known as the reactivity effect. You behave differently when your behavior is visible, not because you try harder, but because awareness alters action. There's also a deeper identity layer here. According to self-perception theory, we don't act because of who we think we are. We believe who we are based on what we see ourselves doing. When you track habits, you see evidence of regulation, consistency, and follow-through. That reshapes identity, and identity affects stress response. A regulated identity creates a regulated nervous system. Now let's talk about dopamine, because this is often misunderstood. Dopamine doesn't only respond to big rewards, it responds to visible progress. Habit tracking creates small wins, consistent signals of movement, and stable motivation. Not euphoric, not manic, stable. And stable motivation prevents burnout. Burnout is deeply connected to physical exhaustion and immune suppression. This is where precision matters. Science does not say that journaling guarantees success. It does not say that writing affirmations changes reality, and it does not say everyone benefits the same way. What science does say is this: clarity improves regulation, regulation improves behavior, reduced stress improves physiology. Journaling increases the probability of better outcomes, not because it promises results, but because it removes noise. So let's connect the dots. Journaling and habit tracking work because they externalize internal noise, reduce cognitive load, strengthen metacognition, improve emotional regulation, stabilize motivation, and align identity with action. And when the mind is quieter, the body recovers better. This is not spirituality. This is systems management. Now, this part matters. Most people understand this intellectually, but don't implement it consistently. Because insight alone doesn't regulate the nervous system. Structure does. That's why I created the journaling and habit tracker linked in the description. Not as a ritual, not as motivation, but as a cognitive tool. It's designed to help you reduce emotional noise, track regulation instead of perfection, observe patterns without judgment, and make progress visible, so your nervous system doesn't have to carry everything alone. If you want a grounded, science-aligned way to support mental and physical regulation daily, you'll find it in the link below. Journaling doesn't heal the body directly, it quiets the mind, and the body follows. Less noise, less load, better regulation. If this episode helped you see journaling differently, subscribe to Mesmeric Femme. We explore feminine psychology, quiet authority, and the invisible systems that shape how you feel and function. I'll see you next time.